When I tell y'all that y'all gave me so much to work with when I asked for y'all unpopular opinions on this game, hello everyone, my name is itstyrenee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see with today's video, I am asking you guys unpopular opinions on Final Fantasy 15. Now on TikTok and Twitter, I asked for your guys' opinions, and just as I stated earlier, you guys gave me a lot, like way more when I asked for 8 in another game. I mean, if you are on my socials, then you can see what games that I'm asking opinions on. But you guys just hammered it in and we got a lot. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, before I start with the unpopular opinions, I will say this. You will remain anonymous, and if I say something that sounds similar to what you had stated in your opinion and the wording might be a little bit different, it's because someone else had said the same thing and I just don't want to repeat the same opinion and just stay on that topic there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. I actually screenshotted everything and it's on my iPad, so I'll be reading them off my iPad here for you. Alright, so I have a huge chunk of opinions from a friend of mine, and her first one was the DLCs could have been included in the original game if they weren't rushing so bad to put a game out there. Honestly, I don't mind the DLCs being DLCs. From my understanding, when I did my research, they didn't come out right away after the original game was released. But it wouldn't have changed my opinion on the original game itself because I personally like the original game. I do think the DLCs add a little bit of flavor and helps us to understand the characters surrounding Noctis, so I didn't mind it too much. They also said Versus 13's designs of the characters were way better than what we got. The only design that I was a little sad that we didn't see in the original game was with Noctis. He was wearing like this jacket. It was short sleeve, but like the neck of it was a little long. I forgot what kind of style jacket it is. It's not a fleece jacket, but I actually like the designs of the boys of how they are now. Arden is not a villain I can sympathize with. I will agree on that, because let me tell you something. He's the reason why Ignis is blind. Yeah. And he's the reason why Noctis knocked off Prompto off of a moving train. You don't get my sympathy. You don't get my sympathy. The love interest truly was a brotherly love. There was no need for a romance between Noctis and Luna. Well, I agree and disagree at the same time, because I really loved the love that Noctis had for Ignis, Prompto, and Gladio, and I loved the love that they had for Noctis. Even though their job was to protect and attend to him on his way to marrying Lunafreya, I still saw the love that they have for one another, and it was true brotherly love. I don't want to say that I was obsessed with Noctis and Luna, because I have more opinions on Noctis and Luna coming up, and I don't want to dive too deep into their relationship quite yet until I get to those opinions. But I feel that it was needed in a sense. I don't want to say too much quite yet. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. And then the last opinion this person stated was the side quests made the game more enjoyable than the main story. I agree, because I'll say this. I've expressed plenty of times that I'm not someone who enjoys side quests at all. I'm someone who likes to focus on the main story and just keep it pushing. But this is the only game that I've played where I played the side quest. I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. This is pretty fun. Do I think it's more fun than the main story? No, not exactly, but I do enjoy it. It really added more to when I played this game for the first time. But I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. All right. This next person stated, one of the most popular takes I've seen is that Final Fantasy 15 isn't a full game on its own without the DLC, but I don't think that's true. Yes, the Royal Edition is a significant enhancement and improvement, but I think it's a great game without it too. I agree, because again, I loved it for what I saw when I first finished the game. I was absolutely emotional, because who wouldn't be emotional finishing the game? But I'll say this. When I played Final Fantasy 15 for the first time, it took me less than 2 weeks to finish it, because I was so glued to the screen for what's to come. I loved the combat system, the dynamic the boys had with each other. I loved the scenery of it all. I loved every single thing about it. So even if the DLCs didn't exist or the Royal Edition didn't exist, I have yet to play the Royal Edition. I don't own a copy of the Royal Edition, but I wouldn't mind playing it. I still would have loved it for what it was. This next person stated, I don't know if this is unpopular, but Ignis has one of the best stories in FF. I don't know if I can say that as a whole, as far as Final Fantasy as a whole, but I will say he is an interesting character as far as what goes on in Final Fantasy 15. I think for me, I really do love the dynamic. I don't know if I can say, I don't want to compare and contrast each boy's dynamic with Noctis, because Ignis, Prompto, and Gladio have different relationships with Noctis, at least with how it began. But I will say it's emotional, because he sacrificed his ability to see for Noctis, and towards the ending of his DLC, we see that Noctis was thankful to have him as a friend, and Ignis still had the vision of when he last saw Noctis and when he first met him as a kid. That was really emotional for me, and I would love to have a friend like Ignis who would do anything to sacrifice for me. I don't know about their blind sight. I'm not asking for so much, because that is a lot, but it's a sweet thing. The next unpopular opinion I got was best mainline Final Fantasy, excluding the remakes, since Final Fantasy X. This one, I don't know if I can say so much on, because the only Final Fantasy games I've played would be Remake, Rebirth, 10, 15, and 8. I'm currently playing 9 for the first time still. And interesting enough, I haven't seen people say anything about Final Fantasy 11, 12. 13 is starting to get a little bit more praise, but I don't really see it get too much praise compared to, 7, 10, 15, and 16. But I would have to agree. The only ones I've played in the 10s area department of Final Fantasy would be 10 and 15. I enjoy it. Another one states, Royal Arms shouldn't be so debilitating. It's interesting enough, when I came across this, I didn't get that impression. I thought that, well, I'm actually on my second playthrough of this game as we speak, But looking and switching in different weapons with Noctis, I didn't get the impression that the royal arms were so weak. Maybe it's the ones that are mandatory to get. I know that there are more that you can get with side quests, but from what I got in the main story, I felt that they were really helpful along the journey and improving Noctis's status throughout the game. So I have to disagree on this. All right. And another one is, it may have its faults, but the people that get it just get it. It's truly a game where it's about the journey, not the destination. And the longer you spend on that journey, the more impactful the destination is. And if you just skip all of that, then of course you wouldn't get its impact. I definitely agree with this one. Before getting into Final Fantasy 15, I just came across like so much negativity with it. A lot of people are saying that it was horrible and that we deserved Versus 13 and not this. And I was a little hesitant at first playing this game next before getting into Rebirth, because I played it a couple months before Rebirth came out. I was like, let me just give it a shot. And throughout the entire time of me playing it, I just did not understand why people had a strong disliking to it. And I had fun with the little things that came with it, from driving around to taking the photos, and there's a mini game where you can race with Gladio, to the boat rides in Altisha, the chocobo rides. It's the little things that make it great. And although it was depressing to complete the game, it was just the fun of it all and immersing yourself in that world. And of course it's going to be flaws within the storyline itself, but I didn't feel like I was playing a Final Fantasy game. I didn't feel like I was playing a typical Final Fantasy game where I had to get to point A to point B in a certain amount of time and just having to accomplish what needed to be done, which was defeating the antagonist. It just felt like I was on a camping trip with my closest friends. And I do agree with this wholeheartedly. I feel like if people focus more on the storyline rather than the environment of it all, then nobody would get it. But I loved it. All right, so this next one says Ignis is the hottest chocobro. I don't care what anyone else says. I love all the boys, but I will say Ignis does stand out, especially with the DLC. I feel like Ignis is very much husband material, because not only he can cook, but he drives, and he's very much like the voice of reasoning. And sorry y'all, and he just has a good head on his shoulders. And I feel like people be lucky to not only have him as a friend, but like whoever he marries, she's a lucky woman. She's a lucky woman. So good for her. I like to think, you know, after the events of 15, he got married. You know what I'm saying? Had kids. Great dad. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So this next one is, guys, Somnus isn't actually the villain of the story, nor is Arden. Without Somnus, there would be no story to Final Fantasy 15. I agree. Let me tell you something. I don't like Arden, and I'm not justifying his behavior in any shape or form. I did not play his DLC because I was like, no, I'm not going to sympathize with you. But I did watch a summarization video on what happened in that DLC when I first finished Final Fantasy 15 about 2 years ago. And I will say what happened to him sucks. But maturing is realizing that Baja Blast, yes, that's what I call Bahamut, or yeah, Maturing is realizing that Baja Blast is the issue in Final Fantasy 15. Sorry, y'all. My phone was telling me I needed to free up some space to record. So I freed up some space to record. Back to what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. I've noticed that a lot of people were realizing that Baja Blast was the true issue of Final Fantasy 15. And I agree. Let's move on before my phone tries to tell me I need to make up more space for y'all. Okay, this next unpopular opinion states Noctis did not love Lunafreya romantically, and I would die on that hill. I would have to say false, but I can understand why this person said this though. It's because we did not get a lot of cutscenes with Noctis and Lunafreya before she passed. I honestly wished we kind of got to see the build-up, maybe like to see Noctis proposing to Lunafreya, even though the marriage was a bit kind of arranged in a sense. We got to see like flashbacks of them during childhood. Their only communication was like through Umbra, and that was about it. So, but I do think he loved her dearly. I think their ending, as long as they got their happy ending, that's all that mattered. Alrighty, well, I had to pull out my digital camera for this one because I kept trying to record my reaction to this one opinion a billion times. And basically my phone told me to fuck off and that I needed to get rid of more storage. So I went on my iCloud. My iCloud told me to fuck off. I deleted stuff out of my gallery, told me to fuck off. Deleted some apps, told me to fuck off again. So I fucked off. And I'm going to read reactions with recording of this Canon camera. Back to what I was saying. If I could find it, 15 has the best display in the whole franchise for friendship. And honestly, most of the games in general. The little details and moments in the game have not been topped by 7 Remake, Final Fantasy 16, etc. I will have to agree with this. As much as I love Final Fantasy 7 Remake, that's the first game that introduced me to Final Fantasy. I have not played 16 yet, but I will say the dynamic the boys have is so different, and I think it is a little bit more personal because they take time to wind down with cooking, fishing, taking photos, just the little things that you can do in your normal day-to-day basis compared to something like in Final Fantasy 7. Yes, you can do small things here and there like dancing, going to a carnival like amusement park and things of that sort, but their main goal was to defeat Sephiroth, and it just feels different. So I definitely agree with you on that. And then the last unpopular opinion, which, well, actually I'll do a few more because my camera's being nice to me. Dawn of the Future is kind of terrible, unfortunately. What makes 15 stand out is that it broke the FF grain and Destiny wasn't broken. Arden and Noctis had to cruelly accept their fate. Beautifully tragic. You know what the funny thing is? I bought Dawn of the Future for my 23rd birthday. I have not cracked open that book yet. Not yet. But I know a lot of people said it's like a alternative ending to 15. So I'll have to look at it myself and go from there. But unfortunately, I will say that they did accept what needed to be done, unfortunately. And it does stand out. But then again, I think people don't really pay attention to that due to the flaws of the base game. And I have a couple more opinions, so let me go ahead in case my camera wants to disappoint me. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to do one more opinion because my camera is acting up too, claiming that 2 out of 3 of my batteries are dead and they've been charging for God knows how long. Anyways, betting is not an unpopular opinion, but the ending somehow left me feeling that this isn't the end of the story and that there would be a sequel. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with that one. Because as sad as the ending is, I don't think there's no need for a sequel. I guess the book kind of sort of counts as a sequel. I don't really see the point of bringing a sequel, because I feel like the sequel might undo a lot of things in the main game. And as much as I want Noctis to be with his friends again, I don't think it would be pulled off easily. Sorry for the quick response. But with that being said, that is actually the conclusion of today's video here. Guys, thank you so much for submitting your unpopular opinions. Do you guys agree with anything I said? Disagree? Let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be asking you guys for more unpopular opinions on more games. Who knows which game? But hopefully my phone or my camera won't fuck up and ruin the whole thing next time I ask you guys and I react. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys soon. Take care now. Bye.